What is up, knife world? I am very excited to bring you another knife. This one is by Justin Savkov. I hope I'm getting that name pronunciation correct. It's possible that I'm not. Justin, gosh, I don't know. I wouldn't call him a new maker because he's made a handful of knives before, but he certainly isn't quite as experienced or hasn't produced as many knives as, say, Todd Fisher Sr., right? Todd Fisher Sr. has been doing it for decades. Most people know his name. Most people know his designs, at least in the high-end custom knife world niche, per se. Justin is, he kind of made a couple of knives back in like the, 2017-ish time frame, and then he kind of paused, and then he's kind of been getting back into it recently. He told me he was trying to get into it kind of more full-time, but I guess we'll kind of see how that pans out. But one of my buddies put me onto him. We were just kind of, shooting it one day, and we were talking about people who made great knives, and he introduced me to him and said, yeah, he hasn't made that many knives, but he's already been doing things with like hidden hardware and full dress and different blade styles and exotic materials. It basically took him, Justin, no time to jump into the deep end of custom knives. So then I saw that Justin was producing some more knives. In fact, my buddy kind of got him back into the swing of things, right? He built him a knife, and then I saw another full dress one come through. I'll post a photo of it. And then I hit Justin up, and I was like, hey, one of my buddies put me on. Do you have any open book slots? And he was like, yes, I do. What do you want? It'd be done in a couple of months. And so I kind of wanted something full dress. It had been quite some time since I had gotten a full dress knife. As you can see, a lot of my collection here, these are the two, couple that are just sitting on my desk here. Crazy lineup, right? Kind of a little bit more toned down, maybe a couple with some interesting accents here, but for the most part, it's I kind of been in a like titanium carbon fiber, just a little easier on the knife side there. And so I kind of wanted something silly, and so Justin has these pretty polarizing designs. This one is called the Abaddon. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But as you can see, it's got a wicked blade shape. It's got a very interesting handle. This one's pretty small, which is kind of an in thing. For a small knife, it doesn't bother me too much. My pinky definitely hangs over here, but I guess it's slim enough that it's like, even in a kind of a full finger grip, it's not too bad. So we kind of got to kicking around. I wanted a full dress knife. We kicked around a few pattern ideas, and then we landed on this guy. This is, I think it's Chad Nichols' boomerang zircuti. And Justin did a fantastic job finishing this. He's got big chunks of zirconium in there. He's got like different blues and purples. I hope you can kind of see how the color bounces around there. It's polished, so it's ridiculously hard to catch on camera. Totally know what all those knife reviewers mean now when they say they're trying to record this and it's a nightmare. And then we went with damacore accents everywhere. So this is as full dress as it gets for me. So I think the pattern is called Grossrosen. I'll put a link or text or something in. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. But as you can see, he's got that damacore blade in there. He's got these damacore big, beautiful pivot collars. And then he's got the damacore backspacer and pocket clip. He's got his own kind of custom pivot in there. Has a neat look to it. And then we've got kind of these, they're not speed holes, but they're kind of the same flavor, right? They're different slots in there. This is a heavy knife for its size. All those dress materials get really heavy, but as you can see that core going down the middle there. And you can see, man, he goes ham with the contouring. You can see how thin it gets, like up by the edge. And as you roll around, you can see how the light bounces off of it. It's super curved. And I think one thing that stands out about Justin is that Justin does not use any form of CNCs or water jets right now. He's totally hand-making knives. And I've spoken about CNC versus hand making knives. I don't mind CNC. I still call knives that are custom, even if they're using CNC, it's still a custom knife, right? If you can talk to one person and you can get delivered a knife in specifications that you want, to me, that's a custom knife. And so this is over the top for that, right? It's obviously Justin will work with you on if you want zircuti or titanium or damacore or sanmai or M390 or magnacut or whatever you want. But he also isn't using any form of smart machinery, and he charges a pretty fair price for these. I'm not going to quote what the price is now because from him, because I didn't run that by him, and the price could change, but you know, it was for a full dress model, it was more than fair. And he's done crazy stuff like hidden hardware, so he's got a lot of talent there, but the prices are pretty fair. I think he gets these pivot collar inspirations from maybe Glenn Hoven. He spoke very highly of Glenn. I haven't worked with Glenn at all before, but it kind of reminded me of some of his knives that have the big pivot collars on them there. And they look nice. It also acts as an over travel stop there, so like you can kind of see, try and get you centered in the camera there, you can kind of see that the lock bar interacts with that pivot collar there, and it keeps it from over traveling, which is always nice. I've never had any problems with overextending my lock, but I think that most people feel more comfortable with their pocket knives when they have something like that. You can see on his clip, it's hidden hardware, custom. Gosh, that's a really interesting shape on that thing. It has quite the look to it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of stiff to get in and out of your pocket. I guess maybe it's also because part of the cutouts there. Some makers use different kinds of cutouts. So like we'll pull out the Battle Hawk here. He uses those more like gill type. These are a little more blocky. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab one more knife. And these are like more of a old school kind of lock bar relief cutout. It's that just big one slot there. This is the Jeremy Marsh Rockstar, by the way. Still love carrying this one. Goodness gracious, that's some serious action. We'll put that away. But he uses like kind of an in-between, right? It's not quite the gills, but it is more than just the single cutout. But I think maybe the combination of where my like super thick jeans kind of run into the clip and run into the cutouts there, I kind of notice that it's a little bit tougher to get in and out of the pocket, but it stays in your pocket really well. So I guess that's a pro or con there, depending on how you look at it. Now, action is one of the things that I'm most picky about on my custom knives. Having bad action really, really turns me off. Part of the reason I got into custom knives is because you could get the action just the way you wanted it. And Justin knew that was important to me as he was building this knife. And this knife, it's been a pretty good performer. The detent is effective, right? It doesn't bounce out of the knife, right? It doesn't bounce out of your knife even with like trying to really get it out of there. But the action is smooth coming out. It's not too drop shutty, right? You can kind of bounce it down, but it's not like guillotine your fingers off. It's easy to actuate. It requires a teeny tiny bit of technique, but overall, I'm really happy with it. It did break in pretty well. I still think it has more breaking in to do. I feel like it will get faster. It certainly has gotten faster since I've owned it. One thing about this knife is that it's pretty much light switchy, not push buttony, and I'm really saying that because of how the blade interacts with the handles. So I'm gonna basically I'll slow-mo it, but as you hit the flipper tab, you can see the blade pops out, and then it can basically stop your finger, like it can stop on your finger. And that, he does that, right? It happens because of the way that Justin he profiles the blade against the handles, right? He basically matches them perfectly to each other, which is a cool feature. But if you're trying to push button it too hard, the problem is that the blade would stop on your finger. So that's why I say this is pretty much a light switch only kind of a knife, because when you're running the flipper tab, you pull it back kind of like a light switch, and then your finger clears the blade without any problems. So It's maybe a little bit different than like the Battlehawk, which is like you can kind of push button. It's kind of in the middle. It's certainly different. It's not hard. The detent is tuned well. And again, this is a brand new knife. I still think it'll get even faster as we keep breaking it in. But yeah, Justin was really easy to work with. He did a nice job. He said there were tons of hours polishing this all by hand, which I believe it, because with these materials, pretty much everything has to get polished. We'll kind of walk you around here up in a little more detail if we can, but you can see that blade. Wonderful job. The pattern stands out. Nice and shiny. He's got a nice big swedge on there, kind of with this like, like a spear tip on there, where it's like, it almost looks like there'd be another false edge on here, but it's not. That's just how he does his styling there. And then he's got this full length swedge, which I think he'd only done maybe one or two of those before, and then this kind of a cutout here, which it's a nice blade shape. It's got a kind of a recurve, and then maybe a, I don't even know what to call this. It's got a slight belly to it all the way up through here. It doesn't have like the most aggressive pointy tip. It's certainly sharp, but it's not quite like not like quite like this one, where it's like needle pokey sharp. And it's very sharp. He did a fantastic job with the edge. That'll it'll certainly open your Amazon packages nice and quick. Then continuing, trying to get you as much detail as possible. We can get a good look at that custom pivot. He's kind of got it like the top of it is kind of a satin. It's like a spun satin, and then the insides of it are kind of like this dark finish. I don't know if they're, I guess it's probably the zircuti, right? Because you can kind of see the pattern behind there, but he finishes it at not a mirror and heat treat color, so it kind of gives it a two-tone look there. And then I'm sure the two holes are for like a spanner type bit, so that he can tighten and loosen those. You can see he's got that on both sides. I love that. I love when the pivots are custom, right? They're not just a Torx bit, and as well as they're, they're symmetrical. I like that a lot. Kind of keeping it around here. You can see some of that color. My fingerprints are all over it now, so you'll definitely notice that. Kind of keep walking around. You can see that lovely damacore backspacer, and then continuing to run around. Yeah, it looks great. See the detent hole there. One other thing is that Justin puts a piece of silver with his name in it. You can see it right there, Savkov, and he dovetails it, I guess, into the backspacer there. Kind of reminds me of what Stan Wilson used to do with the non-flipper flippers. He used to sign his name on the backspacer, and if you got like a full dress model, he would do it in a gold piece, like a solid gold piece. He'd inlay the same way that Justin does. Kind of cool. You can see here he's got these very generous finger cutouts for actuating the lock bar, and these are some chunky sets of zircuti, which they're so contoured that they don't feel overbearing, but like that's a serious piece of zircuti right there, and that's the contoured side. So yeah, I'm really happy with this piece. Justin said that he had a huge Instagram kind of backlog, and then I guess his Instagram account got hacked, and then he kind of slowed down from knives. And so he's kind of just been on Facebook posting regularly and trying to get people interested in getting on his books. And I could see Justin's books filling up pretty quickly. I know he just kind of started making and offering a new model. It still has a similar shaped handle, but it's got a slightly different blade, and it's on thumb studs, which thumb studs are super in right now. I'm kind of lukewarm about thumb studs. I wouldn't say no to a thumb stud, but I kind of prefer flippers. But I could see his books filling up pretty quickly, right? He's making things all by hand. The fit and finish is there. The action is there. He listens to his customers. He's willing to do hidden hardware. He's not scared of exotic materials. He's got all the things going for a premium knife maker. So if you're interested in getting some of his stuff, I'd certainly jump on the books there. I'm sure at some point they'll fill up and they'll be years and years and years long, and you'll never get onto them again. So certainly would encourage you, if you're interested in something like this, that you should hop on the bandwagon here, because it's a fantastic knife. I'm really pleased to have it in the collection. Justin, he's got some great style. I like his designs, so I'm sure he'll keep coming up with new things. And yeah, looking forward to kind of seeing that grow. So, but yeah, let me know what you think of this. This knife, you can see I kind of fat fingered it a few times. The action on it is really nice. It's just different than some of my other knives. So sometimes when I'm flipping in between them, you know, I kind of get my hands in the way and block it, but it really is nice action. So yeah, let me know what you think about this one, and we will catch you next time.